Hey guys, it's me today on the show. Donald Trump rocks CPAC. Rashida Tlaib calls a black woman a prop. Al Sharpton says Republicans are obsessed with race, and a nightmare spider that will haunt your dreams. Stick around.
It's the Rob Carson Show. Are you ready to be podsmacked? Now, here's Rob Carson.
Hi guys, welcome to the show. Glad to be here. And I hope that you are glad to be here as well. Well, it's kind of weird. It looks like my arm's being cut off. For those of you who are listening and not watching, that doesn't make any sense. But it looks like my arm is being cut off on TV. On TV, in my studio, and on rangebroadcasting.com, rangebroadcasting.com. That is the new home of this here radio program and TV program. Thanks for joining me, guys. If you get a chance to, check out some of my swag and T-shirts and whatnot. See the designs right up there? Beep, 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 beep. tpublic.com, teepublic.com. Go to Conservatees. You can order a Hillary in 20 Never shirt. You can order I Don't Care That You're Offended shirt. Veganism is an eating disorder. Coffee mug. There's 80 plus designs there, and they're all really cool. So if you would help me out and order something, that would be huge. Let's get to the day's event. Lots of video to get to. Joe Biden was attacked on Twitter for calling VP Mike Pence a decent guy. This is what it's become in the country, that we can't even call somebody the opposite side of the aisle a decent person. This is bad. The last week I've seen, and I've been saying this for a couple of years now, we aren't going to have a traditional civil war. It's not going to be the Civil War that we had 1861 to 1865. It's just not going to happen that way. But we are in an ideological civil war, and violence comes from the left on this one, because you cannot support Donald Trump. You cannot wear a MAGA hat, and this is culminating in attacks at universities, attacks elsewhere. I've got a story later. A hall monitor attacked a kid wearing a MAGA hat. This is not a surprise, because as soon as Donald Trump was elected, actually before, the news media was saying that Donald Trump was a racist, Donald Trump was a misogynist, Donald Trump was a whatever. His followers are racist. The MAGA hat is effectively a KKK hood. This is the abuse of the First Amendment that results in people getting hurt. Okay. This is the abuse of the First Amendment, and the people who say these things. Some intentionally want to cause violence. Some simply just want to silence the opposition. So if you wear a MAGA hat, it's not about making America great again. According to the left, it is a KKK hood. That's absurd on the face of it. Because people who support Donald Trump would not sport a KKK hood. But of course, the left has to take things to the extreme, to the dangerously extreme, to silence the opposition. They know that Make America Great Again was a powerful message. A simple message, but a powerful message. And by showing your support for Donald Trump, you have to be silenced. That hat has to go away. Obviously, the hat is a powerful symbol. The left wants to get rid of it. So what do? They call it racist. This is what they always do. You've got to call it the worst thing possible, so it has to go away. You know. But Joe Biden, he said that Mike Pence was a decent guy. And Mike Pence is a decent guy. He's a hell of a good guy. He's an accomplished man. He is a scholar. He is a patriot. He's a good and decent guy. Because he doesn't agree with gay marriage, that makes him an indecent guy to some, particularly Cynthia Nixon from Sex and the City. Wow, Sex and the City. I've had to watch dozens and dozens of episodes with my wife because she has control of the TV. It has its place, but honestly, Cynthia Nixon, what an insufferable, even her character sucks. Her boyfriend in the show sucks. It's just she's an awful person. Kim Cattrall Hell yeah. The rest of the cast, okay. But Cynthia Nixon, honestly, wow. Talk about a weak link in the chain. Well, she basically said, you have just called America's most anti-LGBT elected leader a decent guy. Sorry, I hate to do that. Yeah. Oh, but by the way, she ran for government. Remember that? That was a joke. Please consider how this falls on the ears of our community. And Biden replied, Biden collapsed. This is where we are. We can't call somebody on the other side. The left can't call someone on the other side a good and decent person. You're right, Cynthia. I was making a point in a foreign policy context that under normal circumstances, a vice president wouldn't be given a silent reaction on the world stage. But there is nothing decent about being anti-LGBTQRSTUV WXYZ rights. And that includes the vice president. So that's Uncle Joe. Uncle Joe. Wow. Somebody on Twitter said, nothing better exemplifies why Joe Biden has zero chance of winning the Democrat primary. Sorry, Joe, this is disturbing and disqualifying. Somebody else wrote, I hope you're willing to go out and campaign hard for a Democrat nominee. It's not a Democratic nominee, it's a Democrat nominee. So, you can't say anything good about the other side. Jon Stewart praised Donald Trump in his support and funding of 9/11 survivors, the 9/11 first responders. Jon Stewart praised the president. Got all sorts of heat. You can't say anything good about the other side. That's just the way it is right now. On the left side of American politics. Yeah. Amazon is going to abandon an office space in Seattle, a brand new high-rise. Now, this is, of course, on the heels of Amazon saying F you to Queens, New York, because Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, also known as AOC, basically with her minions, chased Amazon out of New York under the preface that Amazon was going to get $3 billion. Amazon was going to get $3 billion in tax incentives to come to Queens, New York, which desperately needs employment. 25,000 jobs, $150,000 a year is the median income of those jobs. $25 to $30 billion in the next 10 years of economic impact on this area that needed it. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said, no, we want to use that $3 billion on infrastructure, because that's what Democrats do. They always say we're going to spend money on infrastructure, and you know what? The infrastructure always sucks. The infrastructure always needs to be fixed. It's never fixed. Social Security, never fixed. The VA, Donald Trump's fixing it. Donald Trump is actually fixing it. The Democrats can't have something be fixed. It's got to be continually broken, or they're not needed anymore. Anyway, Amazon could have come here, restaurants and bars and shopping nearby. They were going to get foot traffic, and people invested millions of dollars into their businesses. And Amazon said, no, you know what, screw you. If we're not going to be welcome here, why would I come here and be shredded by AOC and her minions? So we're gone. Now, Seattle, this would have been the biggest lease deal in the city's history. A 58-story Rainier Square tower was going to have Amazon in it. Now they're going to have to look for another tenant. The plans would have provided space for as many as 5,000 employees with the high-rise, which is still under construction. Okay? The city council, here's what happened. The city council, they decided to, because Amazon was going to build a headquarters there, that they were going to charge every employee, or at least tax Amazon, $250 per employee per year to work there. Okay, and they were going to feed the homeless people, or provide homeless shelter, which the private sector does a lot of, by the way, and the public sector really screws up most of the time. Look at public housing. So Amazon basically decided they're going to leave. Now, this is after the city council said, hey, we're gonna go ahead and reverse that $275 per employee. So they decided they were going to reverse it, right? $275 per year. Amazon had threatened to withdraw after that was announced. So the city council backed away, all right? Well, Amazon did the smart thing. Although I would say locating your business in New York City or Seattle, not terribly smart. Because people are leaving New York City in droves and New York State in droves. I don't know about Seattle. But basically, Amazon said, thanks for reversing that, but we don't believe you. We don't believe you, and we know that if a tax can be passed once, it can be passed again, and it can get even worse. So they said, F you. Okay? The company's been at loggerheads with City Hall, where issues of traffic, affordability, and homelessness are regularly attributed to Amazon's overwhelming presence in an area. Whether or not this building is occupied by Amazon workers, we have a housing crisis. We have transportation issues, said City Council Representative Teresa Mosqueda, who opposed the head tax repeal. This is a city that not only welcomed them in, but helped them succeed for that success. To now be sustainable, we have to get on the same page about investments in housing, transit, and infrastructure, which again is never fixed. This is all about the Democrats like to have their permanent underclass. They like to have people poor and dependent. They do. They like to have people poor and dependent, and on top of that, they really, really, really hate capitalism. They really, really, really hate big corporations. The problem is the big corporations, they employ little people. Yeah. Oh, well. Let's go to the president at CPAC, which sounds like a sleeping device to take care of your sleep apnea. I don't really like the CPAC, but anyway, he's at CPAC. Would have loved to have been there this year. I had a lot of friends out there this year, and hopefully I will make it out there to Gaylord National Harbor. It's absolutely glorious, glorious, glorious. Here is a couple of just and I didn't get a chance to see the entire speech of the president. It was a 2-hour speech. That was epic. 2-hour speech. Here is the president on the new Green Deal, and I love this because the new Green Deal is why would you see this is the perfect example of what I have said about the Democrat economic plan. It is Rooseveltian. It is. It's about infrastructure spending, increasing the minimum wage. What's the key word in that phrase? Minimum. Minimum. Sorry, it's 2 fingers. Sorry. Minimum. That's about it. Increasing the minimum wage and lots of infrastructure. So government work, not jobs, just work and the minimum wage. And of course, the new Green Deal, which was idiotic, which the Democrat Party is so stupid to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and this idiot senator from the state of Massachusetts, we'll get to here very shortly. He had a moment in the well of the Senate that is just, wow, you can't be this old and be this stupid. But anyway, this new Green Deal, which of course harkens back to the old Green Deal, which kept us in the Depression longer than it should have happened, and Roosevelt, oddly enough, while the war was happening, unemployment did improve, but by the time he left office, it was at 12%. Or by the time he left the planet, it was at 12%. So it was a joke, but everybody's convinced because the Hoover Dam was built that, oh my God, it's the best thing in the world, and spending, investing in public projects brings back this much money in private spending. It's bullcrap. It's bullcrap. So the Green New Deal makes every building in the country, every single structure of the country would have to be redesigned, retrofitted with whatever the hell, solar panels. I don't know what the hell it is. So billions of buildings in the country. Cow farts, they have to put filters on cows' asses or something, I don't know, or just not eat beef at all. Although in the last week, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was caught eating a burger at a place in D.C. Honestly. Oh, and then, of course, she's saying public transportation are going to get rid of air travel. They're going to get rid of air travel. Get rid of air travel. Okay, this is, and I had mentioned this. Somebody said it was like a high school term paper. I said no, it was like a junior high assignment due on Friday that the kid Thursday night finally decided to start. Here is Donald Trump talking about the new Green Deal at CPAC.
Our country's in big trouble, folks, because we have to get it back. And when I look at what's happening on the other side, I encourage it. I say, no, I think the new Green Deal, or whatever the hell they call it, the Green New Deal, right? Green New Deal. I encourage it. I think it's really something that they should promote.
Yes. It's really funny. I mean, the guy, okay, Donald Trump, I've never thought is terribly well spoken, obviously. But he does get humor, and in a certainly not a Dennis Miller fashion. Maybe more like a, I don't know, trying to think of a comedian that's a little, honestly, Dennis Miller kind of esoteric and all this stuff. Donald Trump's kind of like working man's kind of stand-up comedy. Here's a little bit more.
Work hard on. It's something our country needs. Desperately, they have to go out and get it. But I'll take the other side of that argument only because I'm mandated to. But they should stay with that argument. Never change. Never change.
I agree, because they're right now the Democrat Party is hanging itself by pivoting wicked left, not only on the Green New Deal but also the whole abortion after birth. When a mother is having an abortion, if the baby survives the abortion, the mother and the doctor decide if the baby should live. Rather than just saying, oh my God, the baby's there on the table, it's alive. We have to save the baby. It's a human being on a table. Regardless of what happened in the last 5 minutes, there is a human being on this table that is still alive. Elizabeth Warren and her ilk voted against saving the baby. Say the baby is just on the table, not just born. Not just attempted to have been aborted. But the mother and doctor decide, and that visit, I think the baby needs to die. Think about it. A baby survives an abortion. That's infanticide. That's infanticide, and that's evil. Evil. Here's some more from Donald Trump.
No energy. When the wind stops blowing, that's the end of your electric. Let's hurry up. Darling, is the wind blowing today? I'd like to watch television, darling.
Oh, this is funny. This is funny.
No, but it's true. So
anyway, very funny. Very funny. Is the wind blowing? I'd like to watch television. That's like the blue collar comedy tour. Absolutely funny. Here he is also talking about the Mueller probe, and using some unpresidential profanity, which I found to be quite refreshing, actually.
We're going to check. These people are sick. They're sick.
I love this.
I saw a little Shifty Schiff yesterday.
Adam Schiff.
No, it's the first time. He went into a meeting, and he said, we're going to look into his finance. I said, where did that come from? He always talked about Russia.
Yeah.
Collusion with Russia. The collusion delusion.
Nice. And here's the thing. Why is Congress, the Democrats, why are they looking into his finances? Is there something there? Is there a body? Is there something to investigate? No. This is Stalinistic. This is fishing. There's nothing to investigate. There's nothing there. There's no probable cause to investigate. But the Democrats clearly know that the Mueller investigation is not going to bear any fruit whatsoever. The Mueller investigation, a massive waste of time and manpower, women power, whatever, trans power. Whatever. But a massive waste meant to draw attention from Hillary Clinton and the true collusion that she had with the Russian government, Russian oligarchs, which donated $150 million to the Clinton Foundation after the Uranium One deal, which she approved. Blah, blah, blah. I know, you've heard it before. But that's what that was all about. The Mueller probe, it was meant to go after Donald Trump to distract from Hillary Clinton. That was it. Now, there were a lot of wishful thinking media members and members of Congress that were hoping and believing that there was actually some collusion, because the only reason Hillary Clinton could have been defeated by Donald Trump was if someone else was colluding. And they legitimately bought into it. And they bought into a fallacy. They bought into something that was not real. Okay? Let's go ahead and hear a little bit more from the president.
So now we're waiting for a report, and we'll find out whether or not and who we're dealing with. We're waiting for a report by people that weren't elected. Think of this. We had the greatest election. In all fairness, I used to hear Andrew Jackson. Mm-hmm. This was now greater than the election of Andrew Jackson. People say that. No, people say it. I'm not saying it. Right? This was the equivalent or greater. You know, they used to go to Ronald Reagan when I first started. This is Ronald Reagan. Then we started really doing well, and they were coming from everywhere to vote. Those red hats and white ones.
I love this.
The key isn't the color. The key is what it says. Make America great again. That's what it says.
Come on, baby.
Right?
Racist. It's Klanhood.
But we had the greatest of all time. Now we have people that lost. And unfortunately, you put the wrong people in a couple of positions, and they leave people for a long time that shouldn't be there. And all of a sudden, they're trying to take you out with bullshit. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you. I love that. I love that. They're trying to take you out with bullshit. You think about, I'm pretty good at criticism. I'm pretty good at taking criticism. It's tough, though. It's tough to take criticism. Donald Trump, 92% plus of news coverage is virulently anti-Trump. It's all negative toward him. That coupled with the Justice Department going after him, the FBI going after him, being weaponized to go after him. FISA warrant issued because of a dossier that was paid for by Hillary Clinton. Paid for by Hillary Clinton. The campaign and the transition team surveilled by the government. Okay? This is mind-bending stuff. And when you look at him and how Donald Trump is able to dust himself off from all of this, it's pretty remarkable stuff. And to me, I think it's glorious that he fights back like this. I think it's glorious. George Bush never fought back. Sorry. You got to fight back. And it hurt George Bush. It hurt him greatly, actually. So the Micahel Cohen hearings, Micahel Cohen, lawyer for Donald Trump, and apparently came out, a couple of years ago, had a book manuscript out. And in the book, this is according to Donald Trump, Cohen wanted to paint Trump in a positive light, starting off with the proposal by saying the president is not crazy, dumb, paranoid, in over his head, or a liar. He promised chapters on both First Lady Melania Trump and Trump's children, as well as the unfortunate saga of Stormy Daniels. He sent his book to several publishers, and one, Hachette, reportedly was willing to pay him $750,000 for his words, which is D word for Richard as far as a advance is concerned. He started his proposal with a list of unflattering barbs that have been thrown at Donald Trump since he became commander-in-chief. Crazy, dumb, paranoid, in over his head, liar, addicted to TV, hates the media. He says all of these things have been said about my longtime boss, Donald Trump. None of it is true except maybe that last one about the media. That doesn't make him paranoid. That makes him a realist. First and foremost, I have a unique point of view to offer, he bragged. One is based not on headlines, but brief encounters or armchair analysis from afar, but on my own up-close and personal observations and Trump experiences with Donald Trump and his family over the past dozen years. That so many people are confused by Trump is not surprising to me. His world is a highly complex and nuanced place. It also has a clear and very specific rules of order. Most people don't understand that or him at all. That's really their fault, because here's the thing about Donald Trump. Despite the hyper-public profile figure Donald Trump is, he always has been an enigma to most people. That is by design, and I'll be talking about that a lot as well. Okay? His book proposal was in stark contrast to his words to the Oversight Committee and to other congressional panelists, which he addressed in private on Wednesday. He said Trump is racist. He's a con man and a cheat. Micahel Cohen is a scumbag. Micahel Cohen is going to jail for lying to Congress. Micahel Cohen is a filthy, wretched, awful person. Donald Trump is not a racist. I don't believe he's a racist. If he is, then he's the worst racist in history. He is the worst racist in history. Just saw the Hispanic unemployment rate is at an all-time low. African-American unemployment rate at an all-time low. More women in the workforce. Women are obviously a race. But he's the worst racist. If he's really a racist, he's got to sit there and just go, oh, man, what do I got to do? Despite my best efforts, black people are not getting poorer. Black people are actually working more. Damn it. It's because he's not a racist. He's not a racist. Let's share a little bit of Micahel Cohen, who's just a total scumbag. Let's see what I got here. I got a couple of things. Oh, yes. Here is Micahel Cohen talking about the incivility ushered in by the Trump administration, which actually started before the Trump administration. The incivility started happening with Occupy Wall Street, Black Lives Matter, during the Obama administration. The incivility started happening at Donald Trump rallies when people would show up, when Democrats paid for by George Soros and other groups would show up in line at Trump rallies and start fights. This started with the Women's March. This started with the anti-Trump forces at the inauguration and afterwards burning limousines and police cars, smashing out storefronts, okay? So the incivility has always been from the left. Donald Trump has responded in kind to say, knock it off. Here is Micahel Cohen, sleazebag, scumbag, liar, talking about the Trump and incivility.
In your testimony, you state the bad things that you did for Mr. Trump. And at some point, you apparently changed your course of action. There's a recurring refrain in your testimony that says, and yet, I continued to work for him. But at some point you changed. What was the breaking point? I
was going to jail and pretty much trying to save my ass.
You decided to start telling the truth.
There are several factors. Helsinki, Charlottesville.
Oh, please.
Watching the daily destruction of our civility to one another.
The incivility is coming from the left. I'll prove it to you.
Up silly things like this.
Oh, that's silly.
Really unbecoming of Congress. It's that sort of behavior that I'm responsible for. I'm responsible for your silliness because I did the same thing that you're doing now for 10 years. I protected Mr. Trump for 10 years. And the fact that you pull up a news article that has no value to it, and you want to use that as the premise for discrediting me, that I'm not the person that people called at 3 o'clock in the morning, would make you inaccurate. In actuality, would make you a liar.
You're a liar, sir. And you were willing to, if in fact this testimony is true, you're saying now, you were willing to sell your soul for $750,000. $750,000, which is a paltry amount with regard to a book deal advance. Okay? All right, paltry amount. So what is it? Which time are you lying there, Mr. Cohen? Which time were you lying? Were you lying when you said Donald Trump was not racist, not stupid, not whatever? Or are you lying now? Let's see. Getting ready to go to jail. Actually consulted with Democrat leaders before the hearings. Thinking the latter is the lie. I'm thinking the latter is the lie. And here is the big ending, the big climax, ladies and gentlemen, the money shot of the entire hearing. He predicts that Donald Trump will not go quietly if he loses the 2020 election, which is made up of whole cloth. There is nothing there to substantiate that whatsoever. But here's the end of his testimony.
Yield back.
Thank you very much.
I have acknowledged I have made my own mistakes, and I have owned up to them publicly and under oath.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But silence and complicity in the face of the daily destruction of our basic norms and civility to one another will not be one of them. I did things and I acted improperly, at times at Mr. Trump's behest. I blindly
at times at Mr. Trump's behest. So a lot of the times it was just on your own there, sunshine.
Followed his demands. My loyalty to Mr. Trump has cost me everything.
No, not really. Your dishonesty has cost you everything.
My family's happiness, friendships, my law license.
You had friends?
My company, my livelihood, my honor,
Bye-bye.
My reputation.
Go to jail.
And soon my freedom.
Oh.
And I will not sit back, say nothing, and allow him to do the same to the country.
Oh, please.
Indeed, given my experience working for Mr. Trump.
If he's willing to sell his soul for $750,000, what do you suppose he's doing right now before he goes into jail? He's setting himself up to be a martyr. He is setting himself up when 3 years from now he gets out of jail, that he has a book deal, he's going to have a job on MSNBC, certainly.
I fear that if he loses the election in 2020, that there will never be a peaceful transition of power.
Okay. I think several people have already made the argument, and it's true. There has not been a peaceful transition of power to this president. It's been a violent, vile, awful transition of power. Let's look at Maxine Waters. Let's look at some other members of Congress who've never accepted Donald Trump as the president of the United States and have been saying impeach, impeach, impeach since day one. So there has never been, with this president, a peaceful transition of power. He's never had a moment to breathe. A little bit more from this scumbag.
And this is why I agreed to appear before you today.
No,
in closing, I'd like to say directly to the president, we honor our veterans even in the rain. You tell the truth even when it doesn't aggrandize you.
Aggrandize you.
You respect the law and our incredible law enforcement agents. You don't villainize them.
How does this guy have the right to pontificate about any kind of morality? How does this guy have the audacity to be able to preach to others, particularly the president, about honor and integrity? Is just laughable.
You don't disparage generals, Gold Star families, prisoners of war, and other heroes who had the courage to fight for this country.
Oh, please, like you care.
You don't attack the media and those who...
No, you do, because 92 to 95% of the media coverage is anti-Trump, and he absolutely should be able to criticize them for it because it's obvious they are in the tank for the left.
Question what you don't like or what you don't want them to say.
I'm done with this guy. Bye-bye. Go to jail. Bye-bye to jail. Bye-bye. Let's talk about a sponsor, shall we? You ever had Dots Pretzels? There's a chance if you don't live in the Midwest, if you don't live in Kansas City, you don't live in North Dakota, you don't live in Arizona, you don't have Dots Pretzels. And I'm going to tell you something. These pretzels will ruin you for pretzels. They are not your basic pretzel. They are not the kind of pretzel that you put in the oven and you bake and you cover with mustard or salt. These are just pretzel sticks, and they are glorious. They're just wonderful. They are buttery and oniony and garlicky and little bit of heat. And they're just fantastic. When my wife brings them home from work, her job, she works at Ace True Value on the weekends. She'll bring home a big bag, and we're like, it's really, really, we get excited about it. She brought home dots. She brought home, yes, I know my life isn't very exciting, but I'm going to tell you something. When pretzels make you go, and it's not about my life, it's just that the pretzels are that darn good. They're just that good. DotsPretzels.com. I went to Walmart today, and I'm walking down the chip aisle. And because I do a food podcast, and I was looking for some interesting things that might be there that I could try and share. And I looked at the pretzels and I went, those are crap. These are crap. They're just the old plain pretzels with salt, and that's it. And they're not Dots pretzels. DOTSpretzels.com, DOTSpretzels.com for Dots Pretzels. Order as much as you can, because I'm going to tell you something. You're not going to want to be without them. If you don't have them, you're not going to want to be without them. Dots Pretzels. Wow. Are awesome. Donnie Deutsch, MSNBC, responded to, let me find this fool. This guy is so bombastic and just so stupid. Donnie Deutsch and Morning Joe are just it's cartoonish. They are so anti-Trump, and Mika Brzezinski is and I got to tell you also, Joe Scarborough, Harvey or Ivy League, really? Joe Scarborough, I don't know, man. Joe Scarborough used to fill in for Rush Limbaugh, and he has just gone off the deep end, and part of that is because he's getting a little, from a leftist. He's now married to her. They got married to the National Archives, which is an insult to the National Archives. Washington, D.C. But it's cartoonish. It's cartoonish. And Donnie Deutsch is one of those people as well. And again, Donald Trump will not peacefully transition from power in 2020. And some of these things, some people said that about Barack Obama. Some people said it about Barack Obama. Didn't happen. He's out of there. Now, he has orchestrated the non-peaceful transition to power of Donald Trump. He was a part and is still a part of it. But it was said about that as well. Here's Donnie Deutsch talking about Donald Trump. And again, making this up out of whole cloth. There's nothing there is nothing at all. There is no evidence, as there is no evidence with the Russian collusion thing. There's no effing evidence. But somehow, Donnie Deutsch and MSNBC have decided that they're going to buy into this thing that Donald Trump is not going to peacefully leave the White House in 2020. Oh, and he's going to win the White House in 2020. Donnie Deutsch.
I'll tell you what Cohen did say, and it's really important. This is, I think, one of the most important things in his close.
Yes.
And I've said that people that know Trump will understand this.
Yeah.
When he said Trump will not leave office in a in a normal, peaceful.
There's Mika Brazil. Yes, Joe. Oh, sorry.
I said, Trump, you have to understand something. He did it in the last election. When he thought he was going to lose, he was teeing it up for a few days. I mean, it's easy to forget that now.
Really,
if impeachment starts to happen, even if he loses an election, whatever in a movie you think this guy is capable of doing to create a civil war, he will do. I know that's...
He's not creating the civil war. He's not the one who's doing it.
I'm not speaking in...
You can't be this stupid.
Hyperbole. And the fact that I didn't know Michael was going to say that, but that was kind of his kind of warning as a guy who knows him better than anybody. And I think we really have to pay attention to that.
I mean, does anyone doubt that? Does anyone doubt that?
I doubt it. I doubt it. Absolutely doubt it. Give me a break.
Donald Trump would do that even if he loses.
Give me the evidence.
A free and fair election, that he'll start talking about voter fraud.
I'm not just. I'm taking it to the next level.
Yeah.
He said he won't leave.
Wait. Hold on. Who's the side saying that Donald Trump colluded with the Russians to tip the election? That's voter fraud, right? Who's the one who's... This is exactly what the Democrat Party and the left have done to Donald Trump. And they're projecting it on 2020?
In a peaceful transition.
Right.
That's different than saying this was unfair. Take it to that extreme.
And you're right.
God, you're such an idiot. Swear to God. So during Micahel Cohen's congressional hearing, Rashida Tlaib, Congresswoman, went off on Mark Meadows for inviting Lynn Patton to the questioning, and Lynn Patton was standing behind Mark Meadows. She is the Housing and Urban Development official. She has a storied resume. She is an accomplished woman. But Rashida Tlaib, after all of this, and this is the thing that everybody's missing. It's not only just racist that Rashida Tlaib would call Lynn Patton a prop. It's an insult to Lynn Patton as an accomplished person. That's the thing that really, really bothers me about this. And we're going to get into just the outrageous statement that Rashida Tlaib, and shameless, by the way, shameless, and she's doubling down on it. But can you imagine a woman of color standing at a hearing and another person calling that person a prop because they're black? Honestly, absolutely shameful. Here it is.
As well.
Mr. Cohen, with this, do you think the President of the United States is making decisions in the best interest of the American people?
No, I don't.
Especially those you said that he used horrible words about, like African Americans, Muslim Americans, and immigrants?
Yes.
Just to make a note, Mr. Chairman, just because someone has a person of color, a black person working for them, does not mean they aren't racist. And it is insensitive that some would even say...
I say, actually, if you're really racist, you probably wouldn't have a black person working for you. I'm just saying.
The fact that someone would actually use a prop, a black woman,
unbelievable,
in this chamber, in this committee.
That she said that, and Lisa, she whipped that out of her quiver. She'd been waiting to say that. After she said it, right there for a second, kind of the air went out of the room.
Is alone racist in itself. Donald Trump is setting
Mr.
a precedent.
Chairman, I ask that
Here's Mark Meadows calling bullshit.
Donald
be
Trump
taken
is setting
down.
a precedent. I reclaim my time.
Mr.
Donald
Chairman,
Trump is setting a precedent.
Mr.
That
Chairman.
the highest office can be
Mr.
attained.
And here she
Chairman,
is trying to talk over,
rules
legal
are
action.
clear.
trying to filibuster.
Here.
Cover up and hold on to business assets to break campaign finance laws and constitutional clauses. What we have here, Mr. Chairman, is criminal conduct and the pursuit of the
This is why I hate Washington.
highest public office by Mr. Cohen and Individual One. I hope that the gravity of this situation hits everyone in this body,
The court report.
and in Congress, and across this country.
Shut
Thank
up.
you, Mr. Chairman. I yield the rest of my time.
Okay, go
Mr.
for
Chairman, I ask that her words, when she's referring to an individual member of this body, be taken down and stricken from the record. I'm sure she didn't intend to do this.
it. Bullshit.
But if anyone knows my record as it relates, it should be you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, I would like to.
Hold on.
I want the words read back.
No.
We want to know exactly what she
excuse
said
me.
about a colleague.
Excuse me. Would you like to rephrase that statement, Ms. Tlaib?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I can actually read it from here. Just to make
She
a
prepared
note, Mr. Chairman, that just because someone has a person of color, a black person working for them, does not mean they are racist. And it is insensitive that someone would even say racist, say it is racist in itself, and to use a black woman as a prop to prove it otherwise. And I can submit this for the record. If a colleague
should be
is
ashamed
thinking
of
that
yourself.
that's what I'm saying,
But
I'm
you don't
just
have
saying
shame.
that's what I believe to have happened. And if, as a person of color in this committee, that's how I felt at that moment, and I
whatever.
wanted to express that.
Flash your
But
color badge,
I am
you
not
idiot.
calling the gentleman, Mr. Meadows, a racist
Yeah,
for
you are.
doing so. I'm saying
Yeah, you are.
that in itself.
You just said. She said, just because you have a campaign staff or a staffer who is a minority, doesn't you could still be racist. And then she says he has an employee who's black. She is completely calling him a racist. Dear God,
it is a racist act.
Well, I hope not, Mr. Chairman, because I need to be clear on this particular. Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Meadows, wait a minute.
I've defended you with false accusations.
Mr. Meadows,
You shut up.
I'm the chair.
Yes, sir, you are.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're dumb as a chair.
I will clear this up. Now, Ms. Tlaib, I want to make sure I understand. You were not intending to call Mr. Meadows a racist, is that right?
No, Mr. Chairman, I
Yes,
do not
she was.
call
She just
Mr.
took
Meadows a racist. I am trying, as a person of color, Mr. Chairman, just to express myself.
I'm a color too. This is kind of like a, I don't know, what do you call that? Well, it's kind of white, yeah, white, a little pink, a little pinkish, I don't know. I'm a person of color.
And how I
white is a color.
felt at that moment. And so, just for the record, that's what was my intention.
Called him a racist, you cow of Satan.
Mr. Chairman, there's nothing more personal to me than my...
She just said, you can have a person of color on your staff and still be a racist. And then she points to a member of his staff who is a person of color. What did she just do there? Do I need to explain it? She just called him a racist.
My relationship...
Why doesn't anybody get this but me? Oh.
My nieces and nephews are people of color. Not many people know that. You know that, Mr. Chairman. And to indicate that I asked someone who is a personal friend of the Trump family, who has worked for him.
Will you be a prop for me today?
Who knows this particular individual, that she's coming in to be a prop. It's racist to suggest that I asked her to come in here for that reason.
It's a terrible insult to her.
Mr. President, the president's
tremendously insulting.
Own person. She's a family member. She loves this family. She came in because she felt like the president of the United States was getting falsely accused. And Mr. Chairman, you and I have a personal relationship that's not based on color. And to even go down this direction is wrong, Mr. Chairman.
Couldn't agree more. Could not agree more. MSNBC, of course, went after this panel talking about Rashida Tlaib inviting Lynn Patton. But they took it further. They took it even further. And this is where it gets highly, and I don't like to use the word offensive because if, offense happens. This is insane. Comparing her standing there to a slave auction. Okay? Seriously. Listen to this bat crap craziness.
Mark Meadows goes out of his way to preemptively rebut something that was in the open testimony about the president calling black voters too stupid to vote for him. And as a means of rebutting that, has Lynn Patton silently stand up
on an auction block and say, look at my black friend. Look at her. That means that the president isn't racist.
Unbelievable.
Was the epitome of racism. Are you serious? Is she the black ambassador for the entire race? Because one person out of his entire cabinet, out of his entire staff, is there as the black person, that this is who you bring up. The fact that he thought that was going to be like a gotcha moment is incredible to me. Incredible.
Well, two things, Willie. First of all, it's important to put Mark Meadows into context.
And again, when you do these things, you take away from the true suffering that happened to blacks with this in the slave auctions. And we don't, as white people, we've studied history, we've seen it, and can you imagine? Can you imagine being livestock? Can you imagine it? It's something that, is awful, awful, awful. It happened 154 years ago, and it is awful. But to say that a woman of achievement standing in a hearing is like a slave on the auction block is just, honestly, just awful. I mean, you look at images of slaves with the scars from floggings and the raw bloodied ankles and hands from the chains that they wore, and then you make this comparison. But this is what the Democrat Party does. MAGA hat is a KKK hood. Having a black woman at a hearing is a slave auction. Are you kidding me?
He's the man that said, and there's video for this, that we're going to send Barack Obama back to Kenya. That's what he said in 2012. So let's just frame it right there. So for him to try to say he's not a racist or has racial insensitivity is ridiculous on its face. Secondly, as a black woman and as a Republican woman my entire life who served on that very committee that we watched.
There you go. And you never hear a guy go, as a white guy. As a white guy. That's flashing your badge. Just flash that here. I don't really have a badge, but you got the, just flash the badge. There it is. Flash the badge. As a black woman. As a white man. As a whatever. Unbelievable. Slave auction. It's like comparing Donald Trump as a Nazi. Donald Trump has Nazis in the White House. When the people who come across the border, they're separated from their families like Nazi prison guards at Auschwitz. We've heard all of these things, and it is meant to be a way to divert from the intellectual argument of the other side that is actually superior to yours. Of course, Lynn Patton was a little ticked off about it, and I believe this is on Fox News. Here she is talking about her response to to being called a prop.
The fact that someone would actually use a prop, a black woman, in this chamber, in this committee.
That's not Lynn Patton, of course. It's Rashida Tlaib.
Is alone racist in itself.
Okay.
Are you a prop? Are you a token?
You know, what I'd like to ask the Congresswoman from Michigan is, why does she take the word of a self-confessed perjurer and
Micahel
criminally convicted white man over a black female who's highly educated, rose up through the ranks of one of the most competitive companies in real estate. You spoke before 25 million people at the Republican National Convention and now works in one of the most historic administrations in history. And so to me, that would be my question. That's more racist than being put up there as a quote-unquote prop.
I don't necessarily just consider it racist. And I don't understand how Rashida Tlaib, who's not black, how is it that somebody who's like Hispanic can say that about a black person? They're not black. Or how is it that, another person of color can say that about a black person when they're not black? I don't understand that. Please explain it to me, how that's not racist. But it's beyond racist. It's just a profound insult. It's just a profound, awful insult. And if it happened to if the shoe were on the other foot, this would be a gigantic news story. This would be, if it were a Democrat black woman being called a prop, the world would have imploded as far as the media world is concerned. A little bit more from Lynn Patton.
The first thing I want to say is that I was not there to represent an entire race of people.
Yes.
I was there to represent one man who, never mind having the lowest unemployment rate for blacks, minorities, Hispanics, women, but also gave $32 million more than the last administration to historically black colleges and universities. Gave the largest federal disaster grant to Puerto Rico. Just passed the most comprehensive prison reform bill in 3 decades, pardoning more people with disparate sentences than any other president.
More than any other president. He has done prison reform more than any other president because the Democrats never want to fix anything. But this president has actually done something about it rather than just talking about it.
In history, he's also just created an urban council that's going to
What? Worst racist ever.
$100 billion of capital into urban and rural communities through opportunity zones. He just made slain Medgar Evers' home a civil rights historic monument.
What?
These are things that,
You sure he didn't burn a cross there?
the American public doesn't hear enough about.
No, because the media won't cover it. Because Donald Trump is a racist. Donald Trump is a racist, right? A little bit more from Lynn Patton, and we'll move on.
The president does not see color, race, creed, religion. What he sees is success and failure. And whether that manifests itself as a person, a place, a property, a restaurant, a TV show, a policy, a country, a community, he makes no differentiation. And so to me, that's what makes people uncomfortable, is that he doesn't care what people think, and he's going to tell it like it is.
That's what I like about this president. Dan Bongino talking about the embarrassing thing that really Rashida Tlaib did by calling Lynn Patton a prop.
Just because someone has a person of color, a black person working for them, does not mean they aren't racist. And it is insensitive that someone even say the fact that someone would actually use a prop, a black woman,
unbelievable,
in this chamber, in this committee.
Insulting. Dear God in heaven.
Is alone racist in itself.
You are
Donald Trump is setting...
Mr. Chairman, I ask that her words be taken down. It's racist to suggest that I ask her to come in here for that reason.
Ridiculous.
No, Mr. Chairman, I do not call Mr. Meadows a racist.
Yes,
I am trying, as a person of color, Mr. Chairman, just to express myself and how I felt at that moment.
Then Elijah Cummings goes on to say, we are best friends. He is not racist. Mark Meadows says, I have nieces and nephews that are of color.
I was the first person to have Dan Bongino
on the air in Washington, D.C. Gets really emotional and looks like he's crying.
I know, I claim the fame.
Yeah, that was a pretty disgusting exchange. I'm actually embarrassed for Representative Tlaib there. That was pretty gross. And listen, I'm not a huge fan of Elijah Cummings' politics, obviously, but a hat tip to him for saying about Meadows that, listen, this isn't right. I know Mark Meadows, and that's not who he is. It was at least one nice moment of bipartisan comedy there. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing on Meadows. If you have evidence that Donald Trump is a racist, don't you think people of color who worked for Donald Trump would be direct recipients of his said racism?
Thank you.
And yet he brings up a person who says the exact opposite, and Representative Tlaib says, oh, she's nothing more than a prop. Which Meadows is right. That's racist to say that. But that seems to have gone over her head completely.
Right. But I'll tell you one thing that seems pretty clear. They're going to end up calling up Ivanka, Eric.
Okay. There's Dan. Speaking the truth. Dan's a really cool guy, by the way. And I'm not just saying this because, I'm name dropping. Dan Bongino, I had him on when he was a candidate for, I believe it was state house or state senate in Maryland. He lost that race. Then he ran for, I think, governor in Minnesota. No. He in Maryland, he ran for Congress nationally. That failed. Moved to Florida, ran for Congress again, failed. Said, screw it, I'm going to become an author, and I'm going to be a pundit. And he's doing quite well at it, by the way. Where is Al Sharpton? You got to hear this. This is Al Sharpton, the man whose entire existence is based on claims of racism. He is a race baiter. He is... every ounce of his being is invested in racism. Here he is saying that the Republicans are obsessed with it.
Tell me, if you want to understand Donald Trump's stain on our politics, you just have to look, though, at this flashpoint. Because this actually was she called him a racist. No, she didn't. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Congresswoman simply said having a black woman stand next to you without a microphone is a racist act, in my view.
So if it's a racist act, wouldn't it be committed by a racist? If it's a racist act, wouldn't it be committed by a racist?
But we are having this bizarre, bonkers debate where some people believe her. So, the debate's over, right? Donald Trump's a racist. No one's...
Okay, the debate is over. Donald Trump is a racist. When did the debate happen? When did Donald Trump and his followers have a chance to rebut? When did the debate end that Donald Trump is a racist? Because I would not support a president who is a racist. If I knew somebody was a racist, David Duke is a racist. If I knew somebody was a racist, I wouldn't support him. So there is no consensus on Donald Trump being a racist, you political POS who calls herself a journalist.
Still debating that anymore?
Nobody.
And why is there, why do we both stop our bonkers debate where some people believe her? So, the debate's over, right? Donald Trump's a racist. No one's still debating that anymore?
Nobody. Me? I don't think he's a racist. And I think about 60 million Americans also believe the same thing because they voted for him. You hacks from hell.
And why do we both sides questions about what is
He looks like a Pez dispenser.
racist? I don't even think stupid people out of industries that aren't supposed to know better, like politics. I don't think they even debate whether or not a stunt like this is racist.
And not only is it, I mean, Spike Lee makes a acceptance speech at the Oscars and say, do the right thing in 2020, and the president says he's talking race. He's a racist.
And
he didn't even mention race.
Whether he can read.
He didn't even.
Spike Lee is all about race. Dear God.
He didn't even mention race. They're obsessed with race because that's who they are.
The Democrat Party is the party of identity politics. The Democrat Party is the party of identity politics.
I think that we need
He's
to
so
just
stupid. He doesn't realize what he just said. As a race baiter supreme, he's so stupid. He doesn't know what he just said.
He would say in court that we stipulate to the racism. Now let's go on with the facts. I mean, there's nothing else to say.
How could you laugh at him? Because he's not funny. He's not funny and he's not smart. Oh my Lord. I've got a bunch of stuff to get to still, guys. So I hope you will stick around because there's much more to come. Let's talk about pit barrel cookers. Pit barrel cookers are a wonderful product made by Noah and Amber Glanville. They created this company. He's a veteran, and he came back from the Middle East with PTSD. And he was treated at barbecue, cooked by some veterans, and he knew he was home, and so he decided to, because he had a passion for barbecue and smoking meats. And so he created these glorious cookers. That's the Pit Barrel Classic on the left there, if you're watching on YouTube or whatever, or the range. That's the food that I cooked on the right. Mm-hmm. Pitbarrelcooker.com, pitbarrelcooker.com. It is glorious. Their products are just wonderful. They will last you forever. They've got the Pit Barrel Classic, the Pit Barrel Junior. They've got all the hooks, all of the things, all the accoutrement you need to make the best barbecue ever. Whether grilling or smoking, slow roasting, it's all going to be done with a Pit Barrel Cooker, pitbarrelcooker.com. So Ed Markey is a senator from Massachusetts. He's still into this whole idiotic Green New Deal, which is idiotic. Again, it's not even a high school term paper. It's an 8th grade class assignment that's due on Friday that the kid didn't start working on until midnight on Thursday. Here is Ed Markey and the well of the Senate talking about this idiotic New Deal, Green New Deal.
We welcome a debate.
You're an idiot.
On proposals for how to get there. But the science is clear as to where we need to end up.
And everybody knows that Donald Trump is a racist.
So the Republicans may think that the
See, I think the whole global warming / climate change thing is a load of crap. So I'm not everybody.
New Deal is just a resolution, but it's a revolution.
How could you be this old and be this stupid?
It's a revolution. Young people want a green energy revolution in our country. They know we can do this. They know that all of these new technologies can be invented.
They know that all of these new technologies can be invented. Which says what? They haven't been invented. Okay? They haven't been invented. So just because you throw money at something doesn't mean it's going to be invented. Honestly. Okay, let's see. Solar-powered jets haven't been invented. So let's throw some money at the dream that we'll have solar-powered jets.
These new technologies can be deployed. It's not just a resolution, it's a revolution.
Yeah.
And all across this country,
yes,
when the Republicans refuse to bring their climate plan out here because
the climate changes. So our plan is to pretty much go about living our lives. And I mean, we like clean water, and we like the clean environment and everything. But honestly, we don't think that we can suddenly change the climate. And if you look at the United States on the world map, it's not very big, so it ain't going to make much difference.
It's a party of science denial. The president is the denier in chief on climate science.
And it's not a resolution. It's a revolution. He's the denier in chief. See what? Wow.
Then we are going to allow this problem to worsen and worsen and worsen.
It never does.
Something's rising up across this country.
No.
Young people especially.
Yeah.
They know it's time for the revolution.
Yeah, because young people are stupid. Oh, not stupid, but they're ignorant. Really young people are ignorant. You know, a lot of people, and I was ignorant. You just don't have any life on the planet. This guy, I don't understand. Over here. I don't know how you can stand. How can be this ignorant at this age?
They know it's time.
They know it's time.
To close the door on this era where all we do is indiscriminately use the atmosphere as a sewer for all of this carbon, all of these greenhouse gases.
How many private jets have you flown in, sir?
So I'm very confident that one way or another, this body will start to act, or it's going to become one of the top 2 or 3 election issues in 2020.
No, it's not. You're an idiot. Goodbye. You know, and I don't just throw idiot out there. I do believe he's an idiot. I think he's an idiot. The proposal, if you read the proposal and you saw my show maybe a week or so ago, it's really stupid. It's getting rid of air travel and cow flatulence. Building high-speed rail to Europe, which is not possible. Getting rid of air travel. Are you out of your effing mind? Do you know what a revolution air travel has created in this world? Of course you do. It has made the world smaller. It has made people don't need to, for instance, go in a stagecoach across the country for 3 months and have half of your family die of dysentery. Now they can do it really Washington, D.C. to LA in 5 hours. It's amazing. But as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she says it can go away. Is her air travel going to end? It's honestly, I don't need to explain how stupid this is, right? I don't. Unless you're really stupid and you're going, I can't believe he's saying that. No, then you're just stupid. Here's the governor of Washington announcing his candidacy for president, which is based on the Green New Deal. This guy is just a case. He has no chance of winning. He had no chance of winning. It'd be like Lindsey Graham seriously expecting to win the 2016 election. Here is the 2020 announcement by Jay Inslee, the governor of Washington, and making this the number one the campaign issue in 2020, which of course will result in him not being the nominee.
Hi, Governor. What do you have to say about climate change?
A lot. We have got to stop global warming. Everyone in this country knows climate is changing. Reduce carbon pollution. New energy futures. Climate change. Climate change. We should be dealing with climate change. Climate change. Climate change. We need to defeat climate change. That's what I believe.
Defeat climate change. We're the
first generation to feel the sting of climate change, and we're the last that can do something about it.
No, we're not. We're not. There was an ice age. It was like 10,000 years ago, and it resulted in the Great Lakes. And then the ice melted, then the climate changed. Honestly, wow, how can you just be this ignorant for so long?
We went to the moon. And created technologies that have changed the world.
Yes, we did.
Our country's next mission must be to rise up to the most urgent challenge of our time.
What is that?
Defeating climate change.
We're going to defeat climate change. So we're going to keep the climate the same, I guess, everywhere? Is that it? It's going to be San Diego everywhere?
This crisis isn't just a chart or graph anymore. The impacts are being felt everywhere. We have an opportunity to transform our economy.
Yeah, to tank the economy.
Run on 100% clean energy.
Okay, tell me how you run a jet on solar. Tell me how you run a tractor trailer on wind power. All right? Tell me how you run a train on wind power. All right? The technology is not there. It will never be there. There's never enough energy from the sun that's going to power everything in a city. It's just not there. Same way with wind. Sorry, it's a pipe dream. It is a pipe dream. The way of the future is going to be nuclear, whether you like it or not. That's it. You may be able to subsidize with wind and solar and hydroelectric. Hydroelectric's been around forever. It's clean. That's clean energy. Hydroelectric is as clean as it gets. There's no emissions. It's going to be nuclear. It's going to be. It's going to be. A little bit more from this doofus.
That will bring millions of good-paying jobs to every community across America.
No, it won't. Because there's no demand for it. There are no companies. There are no companies who are making any money off of it. It's not there yet. So you're not going to create millions of high-paying jobs. It's not going to happen. Amazon, they create hundreds of thousands of high-paying jobs, and they do it because they provide a service that people want. Alternative energy sources, it ain't there yet, kids, and it's not going to just suddenly appear because we throw a whole hell of a lot of taxpayer money at it.
Create a more just future for everyone. I'm Jay Inslee, and I'm running for president because I'm the only candidate who will make defeating climate change our nation's number one priority. Candidate. We can do this. Join our movement. This is our moment.
This is our moment.
There you go. Bill Nye, the science guy there, Inslee for president or whatever. Shush. No chance. Elizabeth Warren gets confronted in Iowa for voting against the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act. And she should, because it's an awful act. I mean, it's a great act, but she voted against it, and I don't understand. I honestly, who decided that being able to kill a fetus in a woman, which is a natural act, when the woman is the incubator of a human life. You were there. I don't remember. I know I was there sometime. I don't remember it. Do you? But somehow this has become the ability to have a child killed inside you is empowering for women. It is liberating for women. Why is that? Why is that? It's my body. No, there's another body in your body. And it's an honor to have that body grow inside you. But some people look at it as a mass of flesh that is not human, although all of us were that mass of flesh. Here is Elizabeth Warren being confronted. It's at the end of this clip.
But what we say
Listen to this too.
To each other
it's about healthcare.
Is if it's your grandma, or it's you, or it's your niece's baby, we're all going to pitch in a few nickels. We're all going to pitch in a few nickels. This is fantastic, and I believe they're talking about child care. But you pitch in a few nickels. It's always you pitch in a few nickels. The Democrats are not happy with pitching in a few nickels. It's never a few nickels. It's never enough. And be there for each other. That is the
there she is. Yeah, you're never going to be the president, by the way. Never going to be the president. The school mom will never be the president. Yeah, we're about a couple hundred people.
Warren,
it's like the DC Improv when I was there.
The signal, we just have one more for you, and then it's picture time.
Oh, picture time.
So let's hear it.
What about the babies that survive abortions? How come they can't have health care?
Infanticide is illegal everywhere in America.
You voted against it.
Go ahead. Infanticide is illegal everywhere.
No. It technically is if you kill a baby. If you just kill a baby. Okay, there's a baby laying there, you just go over and beat it to death. That's illegal. But if the baby is aborted and survives the abortion, she, Elizabeth Warren, and her ilk say that the mother and the doctor should be able to kill it. How does that baby get killed? Generally, I read a report, they break the baby's neck. Okay, so infanticide is illegal, but not in the case when the mother says, hey, I wanted to abort that baby. Why did it survive? Let's kill it now. I'm not going to do that. Okay, I've got a couple of fun stories that I want to do here pretty quick. Including, hold on. Let me see. Another day, another hate crime against Donald Trump supporters. Black high school student confronting a white classmate for wearing a MAGA hat and a 2020 Trump cape, I guess. Edmond Santa Fe High School, north of Oklahoma City. This happened last week. 18-year-old Kenneth Dwayne Jones confronts an underage student who was wearing a MAGA hat. Okay, I'm going to play this, and this is what happens when you say that, and an 18-year-old hears that wearing a MAGA hat is a KKK hood. This is what happens when a young, uneducated, ignorant person hears from a person of authority, whether it be a politician or or some sort of a news reporter or a media figure, saying that the MAGA hat is a KKK hood. Here's the video.
Come here.
Don't grab it. Take it off. Which one you want? I'm going to take it off. Okay, do you leave my hand laying on? You want to rip it off? You want to rip it off? You're going to leave. You want to rip it off? Okay, chill. You want to rip it off? Chill. Rip it off, Dixon, over here right now. Don't get him. Go get him. If you want to rip it off, I'm going to burn it. Which one you want? Which one you want? Speak. Make a motherfucker back. I'm going to rip it, bro.
Why would the hall monitor decide that had to go and the hat had to come off? Why would a hall monitor do that? Unbelievable. But it's happening. Oh, here's Bernie Sanders admitting that he wants to take over healthcare. I thought this was kind of interesting. This is a town hall meeting, and if you think that, before we dive into some other stuff, if you think that Bernie Sanders is not a socialist / communist, this will prove it.
Senator, let's talk a little bit about Medicare for all, because about half of Americans, as you know, they're insured by their employer plans. According to a recent Gallup poll, 70% of these people with private health insurance, their plans, they like their plans. They think their plans are good. Will these people be able to keep their health insurance plans, their private plans, through their employers if there is a Medicare for all program that you endorse?
What will change in their plans is the color of their card. So instead of having a Blue Cross Blue Shield card, instead of having a United Health Insurance card, they're going to have a Medicare card. That Medicare card will allow them to go to any doctor that they want. If they go to the doctor, they're happy. Any hospital they want.
This promise has already been broken.
But you know what else? They're not going to be paying any private insurance premiums. If they are seniors, we are going to expand Medicare benefits to cover dental care, which is not covered for seniors, hearing aids, and eyeglasses.
And you need all of those things.
There will be comprehensive health care. People can go to any doctor, dentist, or hospital they want.
That promise has already been broken. That promise has already been broken. It happened under Obamacare. Keep your plan, keep your doctor. That promise is already broken. Okay. Let's do 2 fun stories here. Let's just do 2 fun stories to kind of wrap things up here. And then we will say hasta la vista. Okay? I want to share, this is kind of funny. The largest SUV in the world has been built and purchased. Sheikh Hamad bin Hamdan Al Nahyan. Nailed it. From Abu Dhabi. Had an SUV built. Weighs 24 tons, 35 feet long. 15.2 liter, six cylinder, 600 horsepower Caterpillar engine. Originally powered a military truck that they made into the world's largest SUV. I think this is great, actually. Would I ever want one of these? No, of course not. But I think it's pretty kick-ass that one exists. Look at this thing. That's a Jeep. See that? That's a Jeep Wrangler on the back of it. This looks like from the last Mad Max movie. Look at the tractor trailer horns and the wheels. Oh, this is spectacular. Oh my God. That anybody would have this built is just a bravo. I mean, I'm not crazy about Sheiks and all that stuff, but that somebody would build this thing, it's spectacular. Wow. I don't really want one, but holy crap. That is spectacular. The Jeep's just sitting on the back there. Look at that. Look at the grill on it. Wow. And the Terminator music makes it kind of cool, too. Finally, a nightmare spider that will haunt your dreams. Biologists have published a terrifying video that shows a gargantuan tarantula dragging up an opossum along the Amazon rainforest floor. A team of scientists from the University of Michigan documented more than a dozen rare and disturbing predator-prey interactions, including this. I want you to watch this, and then I want you to try to sleep comfortably tonight. That's an opossum. There's a spider eating an opossum. Unbelievable. This is impossible. Wow. That thing's the size of a dinner plate. That's a spider. Wow. Sorry, just watching my screen here, and I'm a little lost for words. Oh, my God. Well, thank you, sciencenews.org. We appreciate that. All right, it's time for me to go. Thank you for joining me today, guys. I really appreciate it. If you would please help support the range, okay? Also, if you would order T-shirts and mugs and all that stuff from tpublic.com, teepublic.com. Look for Conservatees. I hope you enjoyed the show. You could follow me on Facebook at Rob Carson Show and on Twitter at Rob Carson. In the meantime, God bless. See you real soon.
Listening to The Rob Carson Show. Friend him on Facebook at Carson Show, on Twitter at Rob Carson, and on Instagram, I think Facebook and Twitter are enough for now.